You're watching Exit 1055 with your host, Richard Rose.
Hey, good morning, I'm Richard Rose. Welcome to Exit 1055 Long Island. It is your TV 1055 show about all things Long Island. In just a few moments, we'll preview a spooky Halloween house with a good cause, how you can help out if you dare enter. But we begin with the 4-year anniversary this week of Superstorm Sandy. Tens of thousands of homes flooded. Many had to be torn down. The storm killed more than 50 people in New York State. It caused tens of billions of dollars in damage, and it has permanently changed the look of the South Shore as thousands of homeowners still struggle to rebuild and to return to the homes they worked so hard to attain. Joining us now is someone who's witnessed it all but has been part of the recovery on the South Shore. He's Ben Jackson, and Ben, too many titles for us to mention here, but some that are relevant. Freeport contractor, you're on the Freeport zoning board, you're also the Long Island and New York City chairman of the national remodeling industry, and you head up a volunteer group that on the weekends has helped to strip and restore free of charge dozens of homes where overwhelmed owners were unable to do it themselves. So welcome. 4 years later, where do we stand?
Well, it's been a struggle. It's been a long time getting things going. I think we're about 50% way there on coming back as far as the residential end, as far as homes. Some of the infrastructure projects seem to be taking a little bit longer, but are getting done.
Yeah, no, I was talking with you yesterday when we were discussing the show, and you said that some people are still trying to apply to get help.
Sure, people haven't gotten into the program. There are people who didn't know about the program. There are a lot of people who are hesitant to get into it. There are a lot of trust issues, you know. It's a big concern.
Is it too late?
I believe the program's closed, yes.
Yeah, so I mean, you'd wonder why you'd wait 4 years, but the level of frustration when you talk to the folks there, they still have that stunned look, almost a wartime look.
Sure. Well, I mean, a lot of houses have been repaired, but people don't realize that they have to elevate these homes. Flood insurance is going to go through the roof. It's just inevitable that every house is going to end up being raised. Yeah,
we'll talk about that too, but how many homes have you raised with your contracting company?
We've done at least 80 homes so far, and plenty more to go.
Yeah, and there are hundreds at least, maybe a couple of thousand is what I read, that have already been elevated. But you get this uneven look where some homes have been raised and others have been not raised yet. How is that?
It's difficult. People aren't happy about it. People aren't happy about the additional stairs, going up and down the stairs. People aren't happy about the concrete, staring at all that concrete and livable space being upstairs. But I think that it's a necessity. The government can't keep paying for every time there's a flood. It's, you know, the flood insurance, it's not privately held, it's subsidized. So it's a big concern.
And of course, these were beautiful communities, and the look of this, is it going to look like that forever? I mean, you see concrete, bare concrete, all of this bare wooding, and sometimes you see right underneath. Some of them seem to almost be tottering on top of these supports. We even saw one collapse one time.
Well, collapsing is another issue that's not necessarily common. What happens is in a V zone, which is a high wave action zone, you need to have that open foundation because the hydronic pressure, the waves will actually take out the foundation.
So they're secure?
So they're secure. They're definitely
you look
secure.
at them, you think, gosh, it seems like they could get blown over even, but that's to allow the water to run through, and that actually is maybe better for the house?
It's definitely better for the house. If you look down the Outer Banks, all the houses are built that way. They're up on stilts, you park underneath, the water flows in and flows out. That's really the idea. These statutes have come down from FEMA. These design things have really been engineered. They really do make sense.
Well, I know there's been a change now in choosing contractors. Explain that.
Well, they have a new program through GOSA where for people who are unable to get a contractor going, or the funding just isn't right, or are struggling to get these projects going, there's a program through GOSA where they're taking over the contractor, the design, and getting these jobs complete.
How is that better than what does that compare to what was being done before, and how is it better?
It's much more structured. It's much more definitive. There's not a lot of choices. There's not a lot of, well, you know, what we call change orders. Every time there's a change on the job, something changes, and it really delays the job quite a bit. These are structured to really move and go through and get them done.
You know, we all reported on this here at CBS and TV 1055, and, you know, we reported on it for many months, virtually every day, and we still are talking about it here 4 years later. But one of the things I was most shocked by in the days afterward was to find out from FEMA that half the people who were in the flood zones did not have flood insurance. How did that happen?
Well, if a bank is going to require flood insurance, the law doesn't require it. And right now, if you take any money from FEMA, it's required that you have flood insurance. And sometimes it gets missed by the banks. You know, sometimes things got a little bit laxed. Now it's very strict. Now most people, unless you own your own home outright and don't owe the bank any money and haven't taken any money, you don't need it.
But it seems that even before that, some of the mortgage lenders were not enforcing it. And I'm sure, and they told us, well, it's not our job to enforce it.
Well, also the FEMA maps have changed too. The FEMA maps were not as inclusive as they are now. So there were areas that got flooded, there were people that got storm damage that actually were not in a flood zone.
Well, you would hope that the numbers have increased by now. Are you seeing that people are getting and buying flood insurance?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's not only are they getting it and buying it, it's a big concern. And the rates are increasing, especially if you're not elevating your home.
We'll talk about that. What about the premiums? We had heard they were going to go up dramatically. Has there been some announcement from FEMA about how they're going to issue these rate increases?
Well, my understanding is that they'll, at a minimum of 20% per year, they're going to go up, and that's indefinitely. They have to refill that bank where the money is to support it. They need the backing.
You got to have it. If it hits, then you're going to wish you did take it.
Right.
But the premiums are fairly expensive now. They're moving up into the several thousands of dollars, depending on your property and how close and which zone you're in.
Sure. I've heard it as high as $8,000 per year, which is quite a bit of money, which is why people are elevating, which is why it makes sense to elevate.
So, you get this zigzag look that we're talking about. Now, I know they've been reluctant to crack down in any way, but what are they going to do eventually to get a uniform look? I mean, are people going to have to fill in those spaces and terrace them in some way?
I think people do that naturally. I mean, a lot of the jobs we're doing, we're bringing the siding down over the concrete, adding some windows, making it look like another level. We're trying to work with the architects who've been great at designing things that don't look so ugly.
Well, now, we mentioned your group. What is it, United Friends of America?
United Friends of America.
A lot of people were impressed with that. Who are these folks and what are they doing?
It's basically myself, my brother, who's my partner, Tony Jackson, and Jennifer Jerome. We're on the board. We go out with a bunch of other volunteers, mostly contractors, skilled people. We work every weekend helping people who can't afford it, who don't have the money to do it.
Dozens of volunteers.
Dozens of volunteers.
And what do they do for the folks?
Right now we're doing a project in Copag. The house burnt down. The people didn't have insurance. It was a glitch and everything, and they have nowhere to go. So we've gutted it. I have an electrician going in this weekend, all permitted, all legal. Everything's, by the book, and we're going to get the people home.
Yeah, I went to one of these where volunteers were helping out, and, the homeowner, when I first spoke to her when I arrived, she had that look, I was talking that stunned look, dazed look, like I don't even know where to start.
Yeah.
And yet, as the hours went by and she saw the work they did and so quickly, her mood brightened. So what has this done to help these people move forward?
That's a very important issue, and it's funny because I see it quite a bit. You go into somebody's home, they're lost, they don't know where to start, and we go, obviously I know what to do because it's my business. So we go in and we just go, okay, let's roll, let's get it going, we got to do this, this, and this. And they start to see light at the end of the tunnel. They start to say, wow, I can get through this, I'll be okay.
Well, you should be commended for that and all the volunteers with your group. I understand you even sent a truck of supplies down to, North Carolina?
Sure. After the storm, we gathered together with a bunch of other groups, Hope's Floats, a bunch of fire departments, Island Park Fire Department. We put together a truckload full of supplies for people, and we had Araby Trucking out of Louisiana sent a truck up to pick up the stuff.
Well, I know they appreciate it. It shows New York values, and New Yorkers have a heart, and we really appreciate that. We got to get it through this together.
Yep.
Ben Jackson, Freeport contractor, lending a hand with many others since, as I said, we are all in this together. So thanks for your efforts.
Thank you.